Good morning, Wolfman fans. Welcome to another episode. I know it's been about a week since the last time I posted, when I was kind of posting every day. And for those of you guys who have been on my channel long enough, you already know that, well, I don't really have a set upload schedule. It's just as the videos come to me to make or when I have the time to make them. Throughout the course of this last week, it's been rather busy, so I really haven't had the time to get to it, but here I am. I'm back with you with yet another video. Now, this video is not going to be like my last one, which was, I was angry. I was very angry on my last one. I had a former subscriber who had really pissed me off, decided that he wanted to openly insult me. If you don't agree with my videos, if you don't agree with my viewpoints, whatever, you don't have to. I'm not telling you you have to. But if you're going to, but don't come at me and openly insult me. That's just, especially when we're on the same side here. So it's counterproductive and it's just flat out rude. But anyway, that aside, this video is not as angry, but I do still have some things I want to talk about. I went like this because off screen that way, I actually have a list of things written down, because otherwise I'm going to get off into a rabbit hole and completely lose what I'm talking about. So first thing I want to talk about, yeah, it's calmed down a lot, thank God. The crazy race riots and stuff that have been happening. But BLM is still very active, still causing all kinds of issues. We have a group down here in Texas. They're very militant. They're stupid, but they like to think of themselves as militant and a threat. They're laughable, if anything. But they have a list of demands talking about that the U.S. government needs to allot them a big piece of land just for themselves, like basically give them a state just for them. And then he goes on to say, and I don't know if you guys have seen the clip, but it's hysterical. The guy talks about, we'll take Texas. I'm like, is this guy really serious right now? Does he know how Texas operates? Because does he know how the U.S. operates, for one? And for two, dude, you're talking about Texas. This is the state that after the Charlie Hebdo incident in France, we held a public Draw Mohammed contest in Texas. And two Muslim dudes showed up, Muslim extremist dudes showed up to shoot up the place and got gunned down from like every angle within the first couple seconds they showed up. How much of a trap does a trap have to look like a trap before you get wise? And this guy's coming down here going, yeah, we'll take Texas. No, dude, you won't. Good luck, though. I mean, best of luck to you in all your endeavors. But either way, these guys are crazy. They're out of control. And the truth about Black Lives Matter is that it's nothing more than Marxism and tyranny. It's like a mix of tyrannical, it's like a tyrannical Marxism is what it is. But it's achieved through violence and chaos, really. But once the violence and chaos have done their part, and you've got enough people capitulating to what they want, to their demands, as it were, that's when they start implementing their Marxist ideologies. Dude, the founders of Black Lives Matter, they're like the top people, the founders of it, have said straight up that they are trained Marxists. That should be a big red flag. You know, like Soviet Union style red flag. It should be a huge red flag to everybody. They're not in it for equality. And you know how that you know that is because when Black Lives Matter protests leads to violence and leads to the death of a black person, or God forbid, a black child, which has happened several times, not over the course of a year, you're talking over the course of like a weekend. And not a word is really said about it. You may hear about it on like As far as mainstream media is concerned, like Fox News, you may hear about it. But in the wide world, most people don't say anything. Black lives only matter when the black person is killed by a white person, particularly a white cop. Cops are bad. Remember, AOC said cops are bad. And if we just get rid of cops, then everything will just be like some affluent suburb, like the one she grew up in. These are the people you guys are voting for. And I say you guys in a very general sense. I mean the American people. Don't get offended. I haven't begun to offend people. Anyways, Black Lives Matter is a BS organization. They shot a woman shot her in the head, killed her. As a young mother, killed her for saying all lives matter. If you say all lives matter, that's contrary to their talking point, contrary to their narrative, contrary to them getting whatever they want, which is usually free whatever without having to work for it and no accountability for whenever they do something wrong. At least that's what it is on the lower levels. The people up top, the trained Marxists, they know that they can use these thug individuals on the bottom to get whatever they want. But once they've achieved their goals, these dudes on the bottom, I hate you guys. If you're hanging out on the bottom side of Black Lives Matter, this goes for black people, or you pansy ass white people that like to kiss their feet and shit and bow down. Once you have accomplished these guys' goals up here, you cease to be useful. This pitching a fit in the street, and that stuff's not going to work anymore. That stuff's going to go away. And you're all of a sudden going to realize what's happening. You're going to think to yourself, what's happening? What's going on? What's happening and going on is you let the bad guy win. You helped the bad guy win. And now you're going to reap the consequences. Because you were too stupid to stand up and say, you know what? No, that's wrong. Treating people differently because of their race is wrong. A black guy telling me I have to bow down to him because I'm white and I should be ashamed of my whiteness, that's wrong. Just like treating black people like they are less than us because they're black. That's wrong. Racism in and of itself is wrong. We should be able to agree about that across the board and leave it at that. We don't need riots, protests, nothing. Because some of you idiots out there, just so in case you didn't hear, we have equality. It's something we've achieved. Now, maybe there's some individuals out there who don't agree and they think they still believe that some people are less than them, but it feels like shit when you get treated as less than someone else. So we don't do that. There's no inequality in the workplace. You'd know that if you read your HR pamphlet that you were given on day one. You would know that. It's illegal. The wage gap for feminism, especially women of color, is a complete bullshit myth. It has been debunked so many times, it makes my face hurt. Okay? It's illegal to discriminate based on anything. You can't discriminate against somebody based on anything. Okay? And honestly, if you think that that wage gap would be true, that let's say Hispanic women made seriously like 50 cents to a man's dollar, there would be an overrepresentation of Hispanic females across the board in the American workforce. The money's on the table to be saved. So if you look at it in that sense, it doesn't seem to make sense, does it? The math doesn't work out. It doesn't add up. All the bullshit narratives that are getting slung around fall apart at the smallest bit of scrutiny. They really do. Honest scrutiny, that is. If you're being honest, these arguments fall apart. Point blank, what myself and so many other people are shooting for is ending the political BS of these they're Marxists, they're socialists, they're people that want to create a new Soviet-style communist whatever system here in the U.S. They want to bring down the U.S. They want us to be like China, 100% ruled by the government. We have no freedom of speech. We have no right to peaceably assemble. We have no rights to right to keep and bear arms. Our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, our way of life goes out the window. But that's what they want, and they're going to use you soft-skulled, slick-brained motherfuckers that keep out there in the street going, Black Lives Matter! They're going to keep using you until you aren't useful anymore. Until you outlive your useful purpose. You know, you're a puppet is what you are. And you're out in the street every day making yourself look like a jackass. So, there's that. And I mean, it's unaccountability. There's a lack of integrity, accountability, all culminating in just senseless violence and murder. But we ain't talking about that. We're talking about the black guy that pointed a gun at the police officer's head and fired. Luckily, he was a shit shot. But guess what? He got gunned down. And his little brother coming on TV talking about, he did nothing wrong. No, he did. And there's video evidence to prove it. I don't know how you guys will still stand up and refute video evidence, but that makes you less than ignorant. That makes you retarded. I'm sorry. So, anyway, moving on from that. You get the COVID masks. Let's go on with COVID. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when quarantine and the COVID restrictions get lifted in November? COVID, I'm not saying it's not a real thing, and I've said this many times before, it is a real thing. It absolutely exists. It's man-made, and I can prove that. You can look up a patent number. It has one. It's a man-made virus. But it is real, and it is dangerous. There are elderly people, there are people who are immunocompromised. These people it can hurt them, it can kill them. So I'm not saying it's not a real thing. It totally is, all right? And of course, take your precautions, hand sanitize, don't stand up nut to butt on people at a grocery store and breathe down their neck like a freaking mongoloid. Don't do that. Get some distance, have some Americans, we have a sense of a personal bubble. Use that. Get some distance. Don't be breathing up on people. And if you really, really feel it necessary to wear a mask, do your thing. I'm not going to stop you. What I have a problem with is all the fear mongering, and it is fear mongering. It really is. You people out there screaming about you are the problem. This is an epidemic, almost acting like it's some kind of a massive plague, and it's just going to continue until everybody puts on a mask. Like, wait, it's not going to end until we all wear a mask? That sounds like a threat. Dr. Fauci seems to think that that's the case, though. That it won't end until we all wear a mask. That sounds like a threat to me. So all the rest of you people that sit there and go and scream, all the Karens and Kyles out there who like to scream at people for not wearing a mask, you are part of the problem of the United States, not COVID. You're not doing anything for or against COVID either way. All you're doing is being an obnoxious person, and people don't like you. That's all there is to it. And really, if the mask is as effective as you say it is, hint, it's not. Just read the package. It'll tell you. Anyway, if you really think it's as effective as it is, then you should be fine. You should be safe, regardless if the guy standing social distancing, fucking 6 feet away, isn't wearing a mask. You should be protected, in all theory, right? So, get yourselves together. America, get yourselves together. If you want to wear a mask and rub hand sanitizer on every, 5 minutes, fine. Free country, you do you. But what is it always? What's the golden rule on that? You don't impede on someone else's freedoms. They do their thing. As long as you're not harming one another, and know them wearing a mask isn't harming you because COVID. That sounds like it's a bullshit argument. And what's worse is I think half of you all know that's a bullshit argument. But leave them alone. You guys do what you do that makes you feel comfortable. We are going to continue to do what we do. And I guarantee the world will not be any worse off for it. It's going to be claimed that it's going to be so many more cases. Yeah, there's going to be more cases of COVID that are found because we are doing more testing. That's just the facts. You test more, you find more. That's just how it goes. That doesn't mean that the lethality rate has gone up or more people have died because of it. Especially not children. People up into like their 20s and 30s. And even in their 40s. We're good. The people that are in their 50s, now it's probably better to start taking some precautions. Hand sanitize, make sure you keeping up on your personal hygiene. And as you go on up in age, then that's where it starts getting to be an issue. So I guess what I'm saying is just calm the hell down. This virus and all the concern of it will stop when we stop having people freak out. Panic and fear are the true killers. That is what hurts people, okay? Especially if you really go and look at other research. There's a lot you guys were listening from day one to hear all the updates about COVID and what you should do to protect yourself. Did you just turn off the news? Because it's in the news, mainstream news. It's out there. The information is there. Go look at the CDC website. It's there. The information. They've done lab tests. They've done all kinds of tests. You just got to go look. But once you put the mask on, it's like you stopped listening. Guys, get a grip. Come back to reality, and we can all move on. I think last thing I kind of went a long ways on those last two. Last thing I wanted to talk about is just patriotism. There are a lot of patriots out there, and a lot of us are seen as as kooks, like these random gun-toting crazy nut jobs, and I mean, many of us are. But the fact of the matter is, why aren't there more of us? I feel like many of the people in this country, I feel like this country gets misrepresented by people in the streets that willingly kneel on the flag or burn the flag or scream, "Fuck America, fuck Trump," stuff like that. Maybe there needs to be more patriots in the street so that we know that we're not alone. And at that, I know the patriots, we like to call ourselves the silent majority. Okay, cool. Make sure you guys are voting for that. Make sure you're voting for what you believe in. This year is so crucial, but that doesn't mean it's the only time. That's just the president. There's still members of Congress, there's senators, okay? There's governors, there's mayors, city council people. There's your votes. There's votes that go for a lot of different people in a lot of different places, and your vote, it counts. You need it to count. You need to make it count. Make your voice heard. Go out there. Push the ballot. I understand a lot of us didn't vote for the last couple years because we weren't convinced. Like our options were really Obama and Obama Part 2, Obama again, and Mitt Romney. Those were our options. I didn't vote. And then this time, many of us were just convinced Hillary was going to win. She didn't, praise God. But at this point, the fight is on, guys. It's for real. It's crucial. Get out there as a patriot and make your voice heard. And show that you love this country and that you're willing to fight for it. You're willing to stand for it and fight for it. Be informed. Be accountable. And be smart. Do your research. Don't just listen to me or what any of these other YouTubers or whoever has to say. Take what we have as a springboard, what we've said, and use it as a springboard moving forward. Do your own research. Do your own research. Read it, look into articles from Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, Breitbart, Daily Wire. Look at all the across the spectrum, even independent sources. Look across the spectrum. See what everybody has to say about any different subject. Eventually, you'll get to piece together a full picture. As there's a little bit that gets left out every time. You'll eventually get to piece together a full picture of everything that's going on. Formulate an opinion. Go read a history book. Understand your history. Understand where we've come from, and where to try to get an idea of where we're going, and why that history is so important. But that's about it, guys. I really hope you've got something that you take away from this video. You guys stay safe out there. Stay sane. It's a crazy world. As always, keep your head on a swivel and stay awesome. I hope you guys are going into an awesome weekend. You have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Later.